Hello and welcome to Spotlight on the Arts, a show about the creatives, innovators, and artists inspiring our community. I'm your host, Lori Hoffman, Arts and Creative Economy Manager for the City of Bellevue. On today's episode, we're going to explore behind the scenes at the annual Bellevue Botanical Garden Society's Garden Delights event. Each year, here at the Bellevue Botanical Garden, a small army of volunteers gathers, giving thousands of hours of their time filled with expertise and artistry. Can you tell me your name and how long you've been volunteering here with Garden Delights?
Linda, and I've been here just before COVID started.
This is my 7th year.
8 years doing Garden Delights.
15, 16 years.
And I started 2011.
Maybe 14 years.
We're twins. We've been
You're
here
twins!
16 years.
Oh, as long as I've been alive, maybe 20 years.
And I'm just one of the volunteers here for Garden Delights, which I've been doing for over 25 years.
The Botanical Garden is a wonderful resource for the City of Bellevue, 53 acres that welcomes over 400,000 visitors each year. The garden is especially interesting in winter when we have Garden Delights. We have over 500,000 lights in bloom. This is really a labor of love from our volunteers for the past 30 years. Over 130 volunteers contribute over 6,000 hours each year to put this exhibit together.
These community volunteers might not define themselves as artists at first, but the creativity, passion, and unique perspective they bring to this event is what makes it stand out as a truly spectacular show among a sea of winter light events. With that in mind, let's go learn more about this annual tradition and the people who bring it to life.
What got you involved with Garden Delights?
I saw an ad on the paper and I thought I can do it, so I joined.
I was just walking through the garden one day and people were in making things and they said, come by next week, and I did, and that was ages ago.
I discovered the Garden Delights. Prior to that, I was up here volunteering pulling weeds and saw how much fun they were building with being creative. It was a good creative outlet when you're retired.
My spouse was a docent, and she said, well, maybe you should just think about going to the garden, and Garden Delights would be right up your alley because, like I said, people always have to fight with their Christmas trees to get them working.
I came here and I'm going, those are really cool lights. This is fun. How do you do this? So I looked into it, and so we've been building and installing and do greeters every year.
We are sitting down today with Joe Abkin, the Executive Director of the Bellevue Botanical Garden Society, to learn more about Garden Delights. Thank you so much for joining us today, Joe.
It's a pleasure.
Can you start off by telling us what's the difference between the Bellevue Botanical Garden and the Garden Society?
The city and the Garden Society have been partners for well over 40 years this next year. But before the garden, there was the society, a group of community here in the Wilburton Hill Park approached the owners of this property and said, we'd like you to donate it to the city so that we can preserve this natural space. And so the city said in order for them to do that, they would need to have a partner group, a friends group, if you will. And so the Bellevue Botanic Garden Society was born.
So this is the society is a 501c3 nonprofit arm that works in concert with the garden?
Our sole purpose is just for the garden. We don't exist for anything else. So the Bellevue Botanic Garden Society is a 501c3. We are the nonprofit. We are focused on fund development, but the city has also tasked us with helping to support things like programming and community events, and so Garden Delights.
How did Garden Delights come to being? This is an amazing thing. I think most of us are very familiar with it. But I can't imagine getting from zero to what we see here. How did this come to be?
Well, much like the garden, it started in small little ways. You know, it started with little efforts here and there. And the main focus of creating the Garden Delights was bring people to this space during this time of year. Most people think of a garden in the spring and then the summer. They don't think about it in the wintertime. And so it was a way to attract people to the garden and broaden people's awareness to a new thing that was happening in our community. Today, over 65,000 people come. That's a big deal. Very hard anymore.
This is completely volunteer effort, and they are plants that have been created that are based on real things. It's not like some of the fake things that you see in other places. We come together at the beginning of March to do what we call build. So we start putting together some of these guys. We'll come up with designs for plants or animals that we want to create for the garden.
We do 4 hours a day, once a week, during our build from March 1st to November 1st.
Near the end of October, beginning of November, we start taking the plants and installing them into the garden.
I see that you are also making coleus. Can you tell me, what is a coleus?
It's a bush or a plant. We're taking these and putting several of them together.
Well, when you first start, you start on the little grasses. So it's a very simple, five little sticks to make. It's really easy.
We're making a calla lily.
Oh, wow.
And we have instructions that what we need for our material. And part by part, we have to follow the instruction, the distance of the light, and paint, because we cannot replace the light. So we have to paint some of the lights to make it look more or less like the real one. This is the flower. It's gonna go like that, wrapped like a burrito. And there's the leaves that goes with it. And 2 weeks you make a flower.
And you start one flower and kind of finish the whole thing, or do you kind of assembly line it where somebody's making the pink
We
part?
finish our own. So when we're done, we have one flower. So.
I've built several topiary, that's a metal structure, and I built the moon, which everyone's seen, and also the heron. The heron is very difficult to work on because it has very little room to get your hand inside.
Well, this is one of the chickens that are in the barnyard display that we were going through, and part of this was just simply taking something that worked before that was much older, starting to have problems, and going through and simply making modifications to it, such as extending the legs and getting a little more definition in the head. The image that you were trying to create was successful in giving somebody some entertainment in this. You know, the beauty of what you create here.
We have a large crew. We get a group of folks who might not have the time to do the build process, but they come in.
They want to put them in the ground and use a hammer, use a rebar. They enjoy that.
What's the favorite plant you've made so far?
There's several. It's unusual in nature, but
Yeah.
we've done a few with blue in it. And I like that color.
Chickens, ladybug, caterpillar, an owl, and a penguin. I've made a few creatures.
I like grass. Simple. I like the simple ones.
Yeah.
I'm simple.
What's your favorite sculpture in the show?
Of course, the aquarium.
Right.
I have had the pleasure of experiencing this event with my family, with my children, and it's a magical night. We get our hot cocoa, we walk around, we try to find the dragon every year. Until fairly recently, I didn't realize, we sat down with your volunteers, the number of hours that goes into creating this event and this army of absolutely wonderful community members. Can you tell us more about what goes into making the event every year?
It's people. People are the reason why this is so successful. And the pride of place, the commitment to the community, the love of what happens here is really at the heart of our volunteers. And, you know, it's very unusual to have volunteers be a part of a program in excess of 12 and 15 years. We have volunteers who have been part of this program for over 20 years, and we have volunteers who are no longer working with us that still come, you know. So it has this connectiveness, this piece of our community that has become entrenched with the garden, and it reaches way outside of our Bellevue city limits. So people come from far and wide just to experience this event. It is a beloved family time.
And it's a lot of fun because we get some really good people, interesting folks, and you get to play with the creative side a little bit.
What brings you back every year?
I don't know, enjoy it. Every plant is different. A plant to repair can take anywhere from 2 minutes to an hour and a half. The nice thing about working with another person is that when you've reached that hour period or an hour and a half, you get really frustrated. And so you basically sit down with the other person and you talk it through, and they may have another idea.
You could take something that somebody worked hours and hours on a decade ago and then go and just make minor modifications, and it can really enhance it without destroying their original vision.
What is it that gives your heart joy to make this work?
You know what? It's the people that comes and visit the garden in the evening, surprise and the delight that they have. And a lot of these people I work during the evening, and a lot of them, it's their family tradition. They do come in and just, you know, every year they come and see, and they just like to come and see what's new.
The best part of it for me is watching the people's reaction and answering their questions. You know, what is this? Up at the vegetable garden, they can recognize corn, they can recognize pumpkin, they can recognize scarecrow. Those are the things they really enjoy. The more rare flowers and stuff that we build, sometimes they have no idea, but they enjoy hearing about them.
You're having a lot of fun with the critters that are in the light display, and you want to make something that the kids are really going to identify with. And so that was one idea, in making this as obvious as we can and get it in an interesting position and just make it as fun and interactive for them to see as they can.
What I enjoy the most is the reactions that we get to the things that we create. People are still sometimes, you know, trying to figure out what something is or not, but most of it, because it's based on real plants, people get a chance to try to figure that out. And we also have started putting up some labels along the way so that people can recognize what the plants are.
Something about being here with everybody else that makes it more fun. Yeah.
You keep coming back to volunteer year after year. What is it about Garden Delights that makes it so worthwhile? What is the moment you look forward to every year?
Well, every year during the event, you see those happy faces that come in, and we make the garden glow. And it's a good community thing. It's Bellevue proud of it. And every time you see people from Bellevue and you say, have you heard of Garden Delight? And everybody has. So, and it's a great thing to know that what you're doing is making people happy.
Art and creativity are vital elements to any well-rounded community and intrinsic to the human condition. Garden Delights is an amazing example of how members of our community can come together, use their creativity, and make something extraordinary. That's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. Is there something you've always been curious about in your community, or a special event where you'd like a peek behind the scenes? Please email us your ideas and feedback at btv@bellevuewa.gov. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll find the city's latest video news and information. I'm Lori Hoffman, and from all of us at Bellevue Television and the City of Bellevue, thank you for watching Spotlight on the Arts. Have a great day.